Well, welcome back to Wake Up America Weekend. As we've been reporting, former President Trump took to Truth Social yesterday, claiming that he will be arrested on Tuesday. Manhattan District Attorney's Office has been signaling for more than a week that an indictment would be coming over Trump's alleged involvement in payments to former porn actor Stormy Daniels.
The possible indictment and arrest of a former president are clearly unprecedented. Joining us now to break all the legal aspects of this case, a prosecutor and host at KCBQ Radio, Wendy Patrick. Thank you so much. Along with distinguished university professor at Touro University, Thane Rosenbaum. Wendy, I'll start off with you. How strong do you think the DA's case against former President Trump is? We keep hearing that the federal prosecutors didn't even want to try it. At one point, two prosecutors with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office they left the office. Cy Vance, who was the former DA there, he also didn't want to prosecute. But then you have Alvin Bragg, who refuses to put actual criminals behind bars. He's now trying it as a felony.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, Lydia and John, how it is elevated to a felony, because that's going to be one of the biggest and most prominent legal objections. So one thing we really should not hold our breath for is a perp walk in handcuffs. This is likely to be more of a low-key affair, whatever is charged and whatever the surrender actually is negotiated. But there will be a mugshot. Think about that. But in terms of the propriety of the charges, they're going to really mount an attack that this, what would normally be a misdemeanor, falsifying business records, should have been tied to a charge to elevate to a felony. So that's going to be the first line of attack. In terms of what do they have, we are all waiting with bated breath. I mean, if anything leaked regarding the arrest, nothing leaked regarding the charge. And they're going to have a lot to do to get ready for Tuesday, if in fact that's going to be the date of the negotiated surrender.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is what do they have? I think a lot of us are thinking, we've looked at this already. It's been dismissed. What new evidence could possibly be part of this that they could possibly potentially put him behind bars? But even that, we know that jail time isn't really.
See, I think they want to perp walk him. I think they want to put him in front of the cameras. I think they would love to put handcuffs on him. I think that's what this is what it's all about, especially the mugshot, especially that mugshot.
Right.
That's what they want more than anything to put on CNN and MSNBC and on the cover of every newspaper.
All right. Well, let's get to Thane here. And on America Right Now, I'm going to run a soundbite here of Thane before I get your reaction to this. But this was liberal Democratic and professor of Harvard Law, Alan Dershowitz. He pointed out some interesting facts about this case and how it's put together. Listen.
Criminal law is not supposed to be an act of creativity. You're supposed to investigate people for existing, well-known crimes. I've taught law for 50 years. I have no idea how you can combine a federal statute about campaign contributions with a state misdemeanor statute about other things and come up. You know, it's 1 and 1 equal 11 here, not 1 and 1 equal 2. It's just wrong.
Thane, you and I, we talked about this on Friday about this case and sort of how it's dusty, it's old, and really their defense is going to be the same argument that they've had, that they've paid Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen was the one that went and did something with the money. What's your reaction to how this case is coming together?
Well, I agree with what Wendy started us off with, because it is interesting that, you know, you're talking about the U.S. attorney. This is a federal case if this is campaign finance law, and this is the state prosecutor. So it's not even clear whether the state prosecutor has subject matter jurisdiction to even bring a case under federal law, given this is under state criminal law. Secondly, you have these really strong defenses, I suspect, that President Trump's lawyers are going to make. He's going to say, in addition to this being stale, which is your point, John, is to say, I'm Donald Trump. I have lots of criminal matters with my personal lawyer. He's working on 100 cases. I gave him $100,000 for legal fees. I have no idea what he's doing with it. You know, I never directed him. This isn't campaign finance violation. This is not hush money payment. This is the payment of legal fees. And I have no idea where this was directed to. If anyone committed campaign finance violations, it's my former lawyer, who, by the way, served time in jail for this very same matter. And he's probably just taking retribution against me. I'm not sure that in this case, Michael Cohen makes such a compelling witness.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Lydia.
No, it's really astounding to me that you have Alvin Bragg, who's pushing for this case. When he first got into office here in New York City as a district attorney, he actually issued a manifesto saying what crimes he would not prosecute. You have people here that literally one guy even shot a cop and he was out like the next day. You have shoplifters, repeat offenders, 30 arrests. You have people shoving people onto train tracks and nothing happens to them. Seriously, they are let out on no bail. So what kind of precedent does this send to all Americans, Wendy, that you have a former president of the United States simply because they don't like his politics, simply because they're afraid of what he may do if and when he becomes the president of the United States, and they have now weaponized the legal system to put him possibly behind bars?
Well, Lydia, you've hit on one of the most compelling and significant aspects of this case is should the former president be treated differently? We often say nobody's above the law. Nobody should be below the law either.
Right.
If a normal citizen wouldn't be perp walked for violating a business record law, then the former president shouldn't either. And that's, by the way, one of the things lawyers always work out behind the scenes before an indictment is landed. But I got to give you another issue, too. Not only is it stale, most Americans think that this is about January 6th. To say that, wait a minute, Stormy Daniels, that is so 2016. I can't believe we're talking about this again, especially given the reality that the former president was a private citizen for 2 years at least before this and wasn't charged. So these will be some of the collateral attacks the lawyers are going to look at first. And let me just add one more thing. Query whether other jurisdictions that may be eyeing potential charges against the former president might now be empowered to bring their own slew of charges if, in fact, an indictment is landed and the president is arrested.
Yeah, Thanon, I want to ask you about this too. How long does this drag out? If you're defending former President Donald Trump, how long can they delay this? Is this something that's going to take years to actually go to trial, or what do you expect there?
So, John, this use is something you and I definitely talked the other day because this is a Democratic elected district attorney in a blue state, right? And so many people look at this and say, is this a legal criminal question or is this a political question, right? Is this a cynical attempt to hang something over the president, something that is insignificant, dealing with essentially possibly falsifying a payment and not really a crime itself? I remember 2 prosecutors withdrew, they resigned from that office because there were much more serious charges that this district attorney chose not to bring. You know why? He didn't think he had a good enough case, which is ridiculous to say. We're going back to the porn star case? That's where we're going? We forgot about the ones that dealt with serious financial crimes attributed to the Trump organization. We went back to the porn star case. So one argument is to say, this is just always hanging a criminal matter on President Trump's head, right? And that letting that prejudice anything in terms of his, or torpedoing his reelection prospects. And I think that a lot of people will see it that way.
All right, we got to go. Wendy, Thane, thank you so much for your time and your insight there. We're going to have more Wake Up America weekend coming up.